Hello, my name is Kaylee Bullen and I am a graduate student at New Mexico State University. I am studying to get my master's degree as well as my teaching licensure in special education. Today I will be reading a couple excerpts from The Great Gatsby, which is a book that is currently on the banned book list. Both of the excerpts that I chose to read are in chapter 1. The first excerpt is actually the opening passage of chapter 1. In my younger and more vulnerable years, my father gave me some advice that I've been turning over in my mind ever since. Whenever you feel like criticizing anyone, he told me, just remember that all people in this world haven't had the advantages that you've had. He didn't say any more, but we've always been unusually communicative in a reserved way, and I understood that he meant a great deal more than that. This is, again, the first passage of chapter 1, and it is on page 3. This really stood out to me, especially since it's the first couple lines of the book, and I think it definitely speaks to the time that this book is written in the 1920s, and there was definitely a lot of people who were not as well off as others, and I think it definitely can still speak to this time as well. Another reason that I picked this is because I think it almost contradicts the second excerpt that I chose. It is important to note that this passage is just from the narrator. It's not talking about any of the characters in the book, whereas the next passage is specifically about a character in the book. That next passage is on page 20, and in this passage, Daisy, one of the main characters in the book, has just had a child, and she is speaking to one of the nurses. It'll show you how I've gotten to feel about things. Well, she was less than an hour old, and Tom was God knows where. I woke up out of the ether and with utterly abandoned feeling, and asked the nurse right away if it was a boy or a girl. She told me it was a girl, and so I turned my head away and wept. All right, I said. I'm glad it's a girl, and I hope she'll be a fool. That's the best thing a girl can be in this world. A beautiful little fool. And for those of us that have read Great Gatsby, we know that the women are definitely the inferior gender at this time. So I think it's very interesting that she speaks that way of her daughter, and a lot of times she tries to fill that role as well. So those were the two excerpts that I read from The Great Gatsby. Thanks.